Welcome to the Lowe Post Hoop Collective live stream. I don't even know what else. The Boston Celtics have won banner 18, blowing out the Dallas Mavericks. The confetti is on the floor. People are celebrating everywhere. The drinks are flowing. And Brian Windhorst, I have one thing I want to start with. Remember before the season, Calvin Booth gave some comments about, I don't know, about repeating. We want to win multiple.
How about them damn Celtics?
Oh, no.
Hey, you faking Lakers. Bye-bye. We'll see you later.
Cedric Maxwell.
This is what you did to me last time, Worthy. This is what I'm doing to you now. Night. See you later. Bye-bye.
Can you not kick anything over this time?
No, I'm not kicking anything over. I'm just trying to say this team is set up, and this is the crazy thing about it. This team is set up right now the way Brad Stevens has it. They'll be in the mix again for the next couple of years. They needed to break through. They broke through, and they'll be more relaxed, and people right now be more confident. As good as they were, I saw both of you guys talk about them from time to time and saying, I'm not sure. And they had a record that was unblemished, but nobody believed them.
I will not let you besmirch me, Cedric Maxwell. I picked the Celtics to win the championship before the season, and we had a segment on NBA Today where someone asked, the question was, how many Western Conference teams can beat the Celtics in a playoff series? I said 0.
Listen, it doesn't matter what was said. Once you're the champs forever.
You're champs forever. You're champs forever. And, and it's great, and I have to say this. The guy I feel worse about is maybe Marcus Smart. Because Marcus Smart was part of, what this organization was all about. And that he isn't here to celebrate this. But then again, Drew Holiday came in, man. He fit like a charm.
Cedric, it was a good trade.
It was.
I think they did it all right.
I can't say it wasn't a good trade. I just said.
I feel bad for him too. But
I feel sorry for the fact that Marcus was one of those pieces that was here that was playing. I understand about the trade, and the results are you can't argue with the results. Win the championship. But leaving them damn fakers behind, I just love it.
It's a bitter day in L.A.
Oh my God! People in L.A. right now are jumping off of freaking bridges. There's another Laker around. Worthy, Byron Scott, Cooper, Magic. I go down the line. And hold on, let me say this: Worthy.
Cedric Maxwell. He made my point for me. My point is this: 64 wins. 16-3 in the playoffs, plus 11-point differential in the regular season, plus 8 in the playoffs. By any measure, it is an all-time single-season accomplishment. People are going to say, they had an easy road to the finals, everybody got injured. All of that is fair when you try and place it in context. But here's what I'm saying. If you're the Celtics, I want you to come out and say, 6 straight champions now without a repeat. That's our goal. I want you to lean all the way into it. We want the repeat. State it on the record. Don't do what the Nuggets and be like, I don't know, repeat. Like, we want to win multiple championships like the Spurs. If you break the no-repeat streak next year, they're going to enter the season as favorites. Then there is no dispute about your place in modern basketball history.
Yeah, but in all honesty, I don't really want to let them enjoy. It's so hard to win. Forget about a repeat right now. It's so hard to win. We were here on this floor 2 years ago with the confetti, and it was
no confetti. Was there confetti?
No, it was always confetti. And it was misery because they were ahead 2-1 in that series, and they lost on their home court. Last year, Game 7 against the Heat, had a great chance to get to the finals, lost on their home court. I remember being here in Game 7 in 2018, Uncle Jeff Green game. LeBron had a brilliant game, had 40, played all 48 minutes, lost on their home court. I know that the players on the team changed a little bit. The coaching situation was definitely changed a little bit. Brad Stevens took over. A lot of things happened, but that is all part of this. It is all part of it. And so they need to celebrate what this is, which is the end of a journey that really started in 2013 when they made the Pierce-Garnett trade. And think about everything they went through in that stretch. Remember they went all in to get Kevin Durant, and they thought they had a chance, and then they allegedly finished second. I don't know. And then they finally, they had the Kyrie trade, and it didn't work. And then the Ime Udoka thing fell apart. They had a lot of different times where it looked like it was a great opportunity, and they just couldn't finish. So now that they have finished, they must be celebrated. These are the rules.
On draft night in 2013, there were 2 huge trades in the NBA. Pierce-Garnett to Brooklyn. Those picks became Tatum and Brown. Jrue Holiday got traded from Philadelphia to New Orleans, beginning the process. Then he was the missing piece in Milwaukee. Now he's the missing piece here. And you're right to look at the journey, because you have the Kyrie Hayward sliding doors moment of like, what if Gordon Hayward never gets hurt? Like, what does that do to develop? Who do we got?
I want Zarin to come over here.
Mike will come. And then that era goes bust. And I keep saying this. You already mentioned the Warriors finals, the Heat conference finals. 3 years ago, this was a 500 team that got obliterated in the first round by the next alleged super team in Brooklyn. Their roster around Tatum and Brown was a mess. Danny Ainge steps down. Brad Stevens steps down and steps up. And they completely remake the team, highlighted by four trades. Step one was bring Al Horford back. And everyone in the entire freaking NBA is thrilled for Al Horford. I'm thrilled for Al Horford.
17 years.
Call me biased all you want. I'm thrilled for Al Horford.
He had some miserable, not him personally, but when he was in Atlanta and they were getting swept, they had good teams that just weren't even close to good enough. You know, like when he went to Philly, he thought that was going to be a great opportunity. Like, he had some bitter ends to seasons.
Derrick White, masterstroke. Jrue Holiday, masterstroke.
His teeth are all messed up.
Porzingis,
like, he's going to need seriously.
And there, coming onto the floor, is the head coach, Joe Mazzulla, who got a lot of criticism last year. I thought most of it was frankly unfair. He's kind of a mad scientist. His way worked, and there he's doing some interviews. It's madness. It's madness. It's a live stream. It's madness. They just won the championship.
Jackie MacMullan.
Jackie Mac. Hi. Do you want to stop by and say hello?
This is a live stream.
This is both of. I think it's fair to say you are a hero to both of us. You mean a lot to both of us. You've helped
Here,
us
Jackie,
both.
sit down. Don't sit.
Sit. Okay. Boston legend.
She's a True Hoop Collective legend.
Channel 7. It's like
test.
I lost my cameraman and I still have his
Well,
mic.
you use this mic.
Can we use this one?
Yeah, that sounds better. How about that? Does that sound better?
Yes, thank
Jackie,
you.
you're supposed to be retired.
I know, but this was too good to pass up. Honestly, I was retired, and my friend Kuhn, who worked at Channel 7 when I worked for us, I used to do stuff for them too, on the weekends and whatever. And he said, "Why don't you come back?" And I said, "I haven't been around the team in 3 years. I'd be such a front runner." And they're like, "Well, we'll pay you." And I'm like, "Okay." But no, they're great friends, and it's been really fun because I got to come to the games, I got to see everybody again, and it's been very enjoyable.
This is we were just saying how much of a journey this has been for this team, and you've been around for most of it.
Yeah, it really has been. I was saying to someone tonight, I'm like, I was with Mike Zarin, Game 7 when they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
We were just talking about
that series, and I was having trouble with my neck. And I literally had to go lie down in this room because I couldn't sit up anymore. I was in real pain. And Kevin Love was in there because he was injured. He had a concussion, remember?
Yeah.
At the end of the game, Mike Zarin, the assistant GM, walked into that room, took off his blazer, and threw it against the wall because they almost won that series. And that was the story of their lives for a bunch of years. They almost won. And the truth was they really weren't a complete enough team to win. And in talking to Pags tonight, Steve Paliuca, one of the owners, trading Marcus Smart, it kind of put this city in shock a little bit. But we all knew, right? We all knew what it meant because we knew Jrue Holiday. And we knew what Porzingis would do and all the dominoes that fell from that deal. And they had to change what they were to get here. They had to. They had to change their identity.
And they did. And that was such a great trade. They got they got the picks and the player.
No, it was unbelievable.
The picks and the player.
And Jrue, I tell this story. I'm going to tell it again to you guys. My daughter's getting married. We were in the fitting room. She was getting fitted for her wedding gown, and I was there with my mother, my sister, her best friend. We're all like ridiculous basketball fans, and she's trying on these dresses, and we're all sitting there smiling. And someone texted us, the Celtics just traded for Jrue Holiday. So we're like little bitties going, whispering, and my daughter's like, "Why are they being so rude? This is like my moment. They're supposed to be." And so then when the woman left, she said, "What the hell is wrong with you guys?" And we said, "No, Allie, it's okay. They traded for Jrue Holiday." And then she understood where we were.
I remember, Jackie, coming here for Media Day. Remember, the Holiday trade happened the day before.
Right.
I went to Media Day, and I watched, obviously I knew he was on the team, but I watched all these players come up on the dais, and I was like, damn.
That's
is a
different.
hell of a team. I'm like, they're going to win a ton of games. I
That
didn't
was
know if
the
they were-
moment where I picked him to win the championship. The minute they got Drew Holiday, I was like,
Yeah.
this is the best team.
He's the adult in the room,
in
man.
the NBA.
He's the adult in
He
the
was
room
great
and
in
the
this
adult
game
they were
tonight.
missing.
He was also great in this game tonight.
He was great in every game that mattered. And that includes some regular season games where they would go into these malaise and they would have these crazy things happen. And he was the guy that just always settled them. He's the king of hockey assists. I don't care how many assists they say he had. He's the guy that set the screen or made the extra pass or made the little deflection that so someone else could get the steal. He sacrificed a lot for this team. A lot of shots, a lot of points, a lot
he
of
averaged
recognition.
7 fewer points a game.
I remember there was a radio station, to be unnamed, here in Boston. One day they said, of the starting 5 of the Celtics, which is the worst player? And they're like, oh, it's Drew Holiday. And I was like, you guys are idiots. You're a bunch of idiots. I'm sorry.
He was awesome tonight. He
was
set the tone, slipping screens, making all the extra
100%.
passes.
Getting loose balls, getting rebounds. The
Dude,
Celtics
they were like they
really went after the
They
boards
were
tonight.
going after loose balls like their life depended.
because
Right.
they
on
got out
getting
rebounded
loose
by
balls.
20 the other night, and that was
No, that's it. And you know what? This team, when they won the rebound game, they won games. I thought what was interesting in the first 3 to 4 minutes, and you guys have seen this 1,000 times, it's a big game. Everyone's jacked up. And, Doc Rivers used to say about Kevin Garnett, I never ran a play for him the first 8 minutes of a playoff game because he'd break the backboard because he was so hyped up. And I felt that both Tatum and Brown were that way.
I think they
in the
started
first,
1 and 9.
Right. They were
Yeah.
in the first few minutes, but not Holiday. Not him, man. He's coming in, just being Drew, being the adult in the room.
So you've seen 3 eras of Celtics championships.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Bird, McHale in the 80s, then the big 3
Right.
in the 2000s, and now in the 20s, this team.
Yeah. Very different teams, all of them.
sure.
Yeah, and someone just said to me, how would they compare to, say, the Bird era? And I'm like, well, that team was tough. They were one of the toughest group of guys I've ever seen. The game was played so differently, as you guys know, so physical and all of that. But this team, historically, a historic offense, never seen before. And they drove me crazy because there were a lot of ups and downs. But people forget, and you guys don't, with the KG, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce group, they went to Game 7 against the Atlanta Hawks. Like, can you imagine if they lost that series? How history
Game
about
7
them?
with the Cavs the next day.
Right,
Lost every road game against Atlanta.
right. So think about that and how history could change things for you. And for these guys in the early years, that's what history did to them. They didn't win games they should have taken care of. But now they have. And, people talk about, well, they've been in the finals this many times and this. I'm like, they were 12. They were just learning.
Tatum and Brown are 26 and 27 right now.
Right
that's
now.
why they have all the pieces they need to go forward again. But to your point, let's bask in this for a second, because I think you just waxed poetic about Drew Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Every single Derrick White shot in this series felt like a gut punch to the Mavericks.
100%.
His threes at the end of the shot clock. And Jayson Tatum today, 31 points, 11 assists, just kept on driving to the basket over and over and over again and making the right play. And then halfway through, you're like, wait a second, is he going to backdoor into the finals MVP? And it's like, well, Jaylen Brown was good the first 3 rounds. Well, maybe he could make a case for Drew Holiday, and that's what the Celtics are. That's like
How great is that?
They have
And-
5 of the 40 best players in the league. And Porzingis, when he played, I think he played 59 minutes in the series. They were plus whatever.
Right.
He was awesome.
I think he had-
wasn't whole, but he was awesome.
I think in the 59 minutes played, he had more points than Al Horford and Xavier Tillman combined, and they played a lot more minutes. He was so important to how they spaced the floor.
We are burying the lead. We are burying the lead. The lead is, I think Peyton Pritchard discovered a new role in the NBA. Is he the equivalent of the left-handed relief pitcher who gets one guy out?
Yeah.
That was
Incredible.
remarkable. They bring him in for one play, and he makes another half-court
Jay King
heave.
from The Athletic called him the heave god.
He's
great.
who is there anyone in the conversation? Jerry West, because he made the one that tied
Yeah.
the game at the end. This is unbelievable. It's
And you know what's funny
uncanny.
about him? Think about him. Last year at this time, in February, he wanted to be traded. He's like, I don't have a role in this team. I don't want to be here.
Now he has a role.
And-
It's just coming at the end of every
Well,
half.
but he played more in the other series. He's important to them.
No, he's
especially
good. I'm being
right.
facetious.
No, but what I'm saying is Brad Stevens said, I'm not going to trade you because I believe in you, and I know you think I don't, but there's going to be a role for you on this team. Everything Brad Stevens did turned to gold. Everything.
Absolutely.
Starting with trading for Derrick White.
He was hiding in the back.
Well,
He
that's
didn't-
his personality.
I know. He didn't want to be seen. By all rights, he should have been standing up there next to Wick Rusbach and next to Joe Mazzulla, because he was the guy who put the team together, but that's not who he is.
No, definitely
And
not.
He is on as hot of a streak as
He is.
I've
But
seen.
think about him, too. He's the other guy that was always so close as the
Butler.
coach of the Celtics and at Butler. So I'm so happy for him, too. He brings it across the finish line.
I'm still hoping that Gordon Hayward shot went in. You know.
Looks right on line.
Yeah.
If they had Peyton Pritchard would have made it.
Ah, there you go. Well said.
Absolutely
Well said,
correct.
Zach. Well said.
Absolutely correct. Well, Jackie, thanks for stopping by.
Oh, it was my
You're
pleasure. Now I
always
have
welcome.
to.
Yeah, go do your
I've lost,
actual job.
I've lost
Right there.
my.
We'll bring it back
No,
to you.
I've lost my laptop. I've
No
I've
one's
lost
gonna
my
take
credential.
Jackie MacMullan's laptop.
My shoes
You
are
don't
there.
need a credential in
There are my
Boston.
shoes. See, my
Jackie
shoes are there.
does not need a credential in
But-
Boston.
all right, guys, enjoy.
Thanks,
All right,
Jackie. What else should we talk about?
I was just saying, Derrick White's going to need hours of dental surgery.
He got slammed onto the floor.
Oh my God, it was a vicious hit. He didn't even miss a beat. His teeth are so messed up, like it's all broken. It's I saw him a minute
They were
ago.
going. I mean, their defense, as sexy as their offense was all year, the bedrock of this team, equally if not more, was defense. Every game, every night, and they just smothered, with the exception of one game, which was such a dramatic blowout, it completely warped their point differential for the playoffs.
I know.
They just absolutely smothered the Mavericks.
Yeah, they were just so much a better team.
Wait a second, we're all bearing the other lead.
By the way, I don't think Peyton Pritchard is the lead.
No, I'm being facetious. We should talk about how Kyrie Irving was awful again in Boston. I mean, awful. Missed good shots, missed bad shots, totally out of sorts.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah, there's no question. He's lost 13 straight games here or something like that, and he doesn't need to prove anything. He's a Hall of Famer if he doesn't play another game. But
No question about that.
This was not good. And I know that he showed incredible sportsmanship at the end and hugged everybody, and he had a very good post-game press conference where he was very contrite and everything. But this was not good for him.
No.
And I also will say, I still don't know what would have happened in this series. The Boston Celtics win it no matter what. I still don't know what would happen in this series if Luka doesn't foul out with 4 minutes in Game 3.
That game,
We just won't know.
the swings of emotion in Game 3 from third quarter, maybe the best quarter Boston played.
How big was the lead? 29?
21.
21.
91-70. And third quarter was like Tatum and Brown are finding each other on cuts. They look like LeBron and Wade. It's like, this is the Celtics. Given the stakes, this is the best quarter they've ever played, maybe. Fourth quarter, it's like, oh, maybe this is also still the Celtics. And then they just find a way to hold on to the game with Luka on the bench.
Right, 4 minutes left.
It's a long time.
It's 93-90.
I didn't think they were going to win the game. It felt like, oh, my God, they're going to fall all the way from ahead.
50-50 at best at that point. And honestly, since Mavericks were on a 22 run and at home, I'd almost swing 60-40 Dallas's way till he fouls out. And so then it's 2-1, and we don't know what happens in Game 4. Celtics could have had this game in Game 4 and come back here 3-1 and had this anyway. But we will never know what would have happened if he had not fouled out of the game. And that if you're gonna focus on Kyrie just not getting it done here in Boston, having 3 dog games, you have to focus. And by the way, Luka could not make a 3. He came into the game tonight he was like 1 of 20 or something.
Too little, too late at the end.
And he took his first 3 shots were out of rhythm 3-pointers.
Well, he had an air ball in the second half.
I thought it was the completely wrong mindset to start the game. I mean, that's not why they lost. I'm just saying completely wrong. He came out in Game 4 with just a pristine mindset. He didn't complain to the officials tonight. That was good. He got back on defense. That was good. But he had the wrong offensive mindset, and that hurt because Boston got off to a very cold start, and the Mavericks couldn't really take advantage of it, and so the Celtics never felt any pressure.
I thought it was important for Boston to get off to a good start, even though the Mavs got it back to 1 or whatever 2. I was worried that what happens if this is 19-8 Mavs, 8 minutes into the game. What is this crowd going to be like? What is the mood going to be like? But it wasn't. They got off to a good start. What's up, Dave? Congratulations.
To Dave Lewin.
Thanks, guys.
Assistant GM. We would interview him, but they're not allowed to talk to media.
No, he fled the scene with his champagne goggles on, as he should, quickly. How do you want to talk about this team, historically? 64 wins, 16-3 in the playoffs is up there with one of the best playoff records of all time, like one of the 5 or 6. Plus 11-point differential in the regular season, one of the best of all time. Plus 8 in the playoffs, not one of the best of all time, but very, very good. They have every metric of an all-time great single-season team. They're not going to be considered, I think, quite at that level, and I think that's okay. But the numbers are beyond dispute.
Our friend Bill Simmons, he wrote this book about 10 or 12 years ago called The Book of Basketball. It was meticulously researched, and I loved reading it, except for one part where he went like championship by championship and threw asterisks
Can't do it
on various things. And it really is one of those things that really like triggers me, because championships are so hard to win that you never, ever, ever, ever apologize. We have to make an agreement. You and I have to make an agreement that we will never, ever minimize this championship because
I've never
injuries.
minimized any championship.
I haven't either. And I've just I'm making like a point here. I'm not saying you're actually going to do it.
It's a compliment to the Celtics that we're asking the question, because what we're really asking is when you start stacking up the 10, 12, 15 greatest teams since the merger, where is this team? You know what I mean? That's the question I'm asking.
For example, everybody downplays the bubble. They all get this little look on their face, and I just am not here for it. And like just the other day, Embiid's on Countdown, and he's saying, well, everybody was hurt, which is fine. Joel Embiid can say whatever he wants, but like the Lakers fans can complain about it because it's a tough day to be a Lakers fan. But come on. We have to, as a basketball community, we have to recognize that the injuries would not have stopped this team. If they played everybody healthy, okay, maybe it's not 16-3, but you're not stopping this team. Do not. I know I'm saying this to you, but I'm not directing this at you.
Yeah, it's a personal attack.
Do not. I won't stand for anybody minimizing this.
Everyone hear that? Brian Windhorst will not stand for it.
It's
you throw an
it's
asterisk on this, you throw a semi-asterisk, you throw a semicolon. Brian Windhorst won't stand for it.
How many little points in an asterisk? If you throw 1 point of an asterisk on there, I don't like it.
I totally agree with you. This is a great single-season team. By the numbers, it's in an echelon where I can't quite get there, because those teams that are in that echelon were here multiple times over a long period of time, and they beat great teams, and that's what. But this team, that's my point. They could just be starting. Like, and if you repeat, a repeat changes everything.
I know, but I don't want to talk about it.
I do, because that's the kind of discussion that this team was so dominant all year long that it should trigger that kind of discussion.
Because again, that implies that unless they repeat, it's not.
No, not at all. They're a great single season team. I just think they have a little entryway into some pretty goddamn hallowed conversations.
Well, I will say this. If Denver was in this series, we'd still be playing. They didn't play the team that gave – Denver was the only team all year that they didn't manage. They were 0-2 against them. Look, Denver didn't get here. I'm not saying Denver didn't handle their business. They lost a freaking Game 7 on their home court. They didn't belong here. But, like, before you – I don't mean you necessarily, but before a year ago we thought – well, Denver, when we were on that court in Denver, we thought, well, they're going to be back again. So
It's never. That's why this is 6 straight. Well, 5 straight and pending. Mike Zarin, what's your title these days?
Zach Lowe, Vice President of Basketball, NBA champion. That's the title.
And this is your father.
This is my dad,
Hey,
Dr. Harvey Zarin. You're now on ESPN's best basketball podcast.
That's nice of you to say. Here's what people need to know.
Podcast, it's a problem.
That's not true. I don't believe that. I don't believe that for 1 second.
Podcasts, I really don't.
I don't believe that for 1 second. You are truly one of the biggest Celtic fans. Like, generally a fan. You work for a team, but you're genuinely a fan.
I got
You
brainwashed
agree, right?
by this guy next to me when I was 3 or 4 years old, and it's been all green all the time.
Yep. Tell me about the night in 2013 when you guys made the Garnett-Pierce trade, because that was where this began.
Draft night is crazy night. We worked on that trade for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I mean, it really only sort of came to fruition like the night before, and then there were details that day, and we had to get KG to agree to it.
But I mean, when it was over, when you're like, okay, we are starting the path that led you to today.
Well, the other crazy thing was we knew we were changing coaches, and so we had sort of got Brad to sign up with one team, and then suddenly the team was very different, and so we had to talk about all of that with him afterwards. But crazy, that night was crazy, and you always hope that things like that lay the groundwork for things like this, but you can't know.
Well, the deal was that you got Tatum and Brown that night. I know it was a lot of work between there and then, but
that team was really good until Lopez and Williams got hurt. They beat the Heat.
The Nets.
The Nets. That team. No, they beat the Heat though. The Nets. You're just clarifying. Yeah. So they beat the Heat, who were the champions, a bunch of times that year. But then Lopez and Williams got hurt, and Paul and KG were their best two players, and that was kind of like us the previous year. We thought when we made that trade that like the out pick might be really good, but the first few they were going to be good for a while. Nobody could tell you who was there that time that we thought it would work out as well as it did. Obviously.
Can I ask you? You're asking hardcore basketball questions.
I got one more. Okay. Now I'm going to take you forward.
He's going to take us on a journey.
The first Porzingis trade falls apart 1 year ago, like right now. You guys are scrambling because for some reason, I don't know why he wouldn't extend his deadline, but he wouldn't. And you guys had to put that thing together. And that's, again, why you're here. Those two trades, that was big, Mike Zarin.
If we had known at the time we made that trade that we also could get Drew, it would have been a lot easier. Trading Smart was hard.
Right.
And then that was a weird day. I won't get into all the details, but it was a weird, messy day. And at the end of it, we had traded for Kristaps, and we knew he would help us, and we knew he would improve our team. And we knew our offense could be really, really good. I don't think we thought at the time best in NBA history, but we knew it could be really good. But then when the Drew trade became available, it became more clear that the pieces would just fit really, really well.
So you came to games when you were a kid at the old Garden with your dad?
Oh yeah. We sat. They gave us new seats in this building, and we were in those seats for the first half tonight.
The non-basketball question.
Ask him questions.
I want to. Well, that's what I was going to ask.
I was getting there.
I don't know how much. We've talked a lot about this over the years. I believe you came to Game 4 of the Warriors Celtics series, right? And it's been an interesting 5 years in the world. It was a big deal that you were here tonight. I know it was a big deal to Mike that you were here tonight.
And me.
And he got you to sit in the lower bowl tonight?
Yeah.
We came downstairs for the second half.
Because your seats have always been upstairs.
Yeah. And when you win, you like to wear the same things. There's no superstition involved.
So that's what you wore in 2008?
He's not
is that what you're saying?
He's just a little stitious.
But I remember hearing you came in 2022 hoping to see something, right?
No, he would have come if we had the chance to win. He was coming.
That's what it was.
COVID was a little difficult for my family.
COVID was hard.
And this has just been a special year having them all back here.
Here's the thing, Zarin. When COVID was going on, you became well known for your cheering. When there was like 8
people. There were no other fans in the building. Someone had to do it.
I know. But see, here's the thing.
But he does.
People didn't know that you always cheer like that.
So how many people who work in a professional sport are really, really, really invested as fans in that team?
Almost none.
Right.
Well, they're all sort of fans, but none of them cheer.
Not the way this guy has been.
That's true.
And not the way our family has been. And the thing that's amazing for me always is he works for every last thing he gets, and he does it nicely. He's not just nice. I love it.
What other teams say that you do it nicely?
I like to think so.
I'm just teasing.
I like to think so. Sometimes the trades work out, sometimes they don't. But I don't think anybody thinks I don't treat.
Now I remember in 2022, you were hoping.
Yeah, no. Listen, we lost Game 5 in San Francisco, and I was in tears in the locker room. And everybody thought it was because we lost the game, and it was because he hadn't been to a game in 3 years. And we grew. That's like a big part of my life, going to Celtics games with my dad. And he was just staying at home because of COVID. And he said, if we have a chance to win at home, I'll come to the game. And so when we lost Game 5, I knew I wasn't going to get to sit at a game with him that year, and it was really, really hard for me. So this is now pretty special for me here.
It's amazing. The other thing is, nice is a big part of my family history. My dad, sold cars in Belmont, was an automobile dealer. And I still run into people who he sold their first car and have only nice things to say about him. And this guy fits that mold. And I didn't say he can't be hard and do the business, but people like him because he's likable. You know, he's nice.
We don't need to turn this into.
All right, Z, go celebrate. Go celebrate.
Go enjoy. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
It's so
Of expertise and still be nice is very difficult in this world now.
well.
I'm
Listen,
not very
it's
nice.
very, 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 very hard to win, as you know, and so I demand of every team that wins that you must enjoy it, and I know you know.
In 08, I was so focused. The draft was a week away. No, I'm just
Who are
telling
you taking with 30?
You gotta understand.
You got-
I didn't understand.
What's your draft board at 30?
After we won in 08, I told myself, like, halfway through the next season, shit, if we win again, I'm freaking enjoying it. Don't you worry.
Go to the
Attaboy.
party. Thank you, guys. The party is somewhere. The party is somewhere. I think I know where the party is, but I don't know if I have the stamina in my old age to try and crash it. I crashed the Warriors party a couple years ago.
I mean, Mike Zarin's been with them for many, many, many years. He looks young, but he's been
So
around
I was
a long
hoping
time.
he would tell the story about Game 5 in San Francisco
Yeah.
and what it cost him. That's his sister over there. We one of the last people I saw before the world ended in 2020. Sloan Conference 2020, Celtics games 2020. What else should we talk about? I don't know. Joe Mazzulla? Should we talk about Mazzulla?
I mean, Brad Stevens giving Joe Mazzulla the job was pretty gutsy because they only their window is really sort of 2 or 3 years where they could keep this team together. They were never like going to have to trade Tatum or whatever, but their window is kind of narrow. They're spending a little bit more money than they're comfortable spending. It doesn't matter if you win. If you win, it doesn't matter. But they were trusting a premium team. I said this before. I've used this before in Hoop Collective. They were treating a Ferrari to a new driver. This was a Ferrari team, and Brad Stevens trusted him.
We could take the metaphor further, but I'm afraid on the live stream that I'll take it in the direction it shouldn't go. But it was a driver that was very suddenly thrust into the driver's seat of the car under very unusual circumstances, and then he faced a torrent of criticism. And
I don't remember. Why was he criticized? I don't
not
remember.
a torrent, but I mean.
I don't recall him being. I mean, maybe my memory is just off.
No,
my
there
memory
was
is fading.
definitely a lot of like, is this guy really ready? Can he go toe to toe with Spoelstra? Can this and that? And
Yeah,
Joe's
that's
young.
true.
Joe's very young
That's
and
true.
not as experienced as some of those guys. But he figured out. They gave him a team this year that really dovetailed with what he wanted to do as a coach in terms of like play 5 shooters all the time, and that's it. Like they don't have 5 shooters, like 4 shooters and one guy who's kind of a shooter. They have like 5 capital S shooters, and he just leaned all the way into that.
But their
This is how
thing
we're
was,
going to play.
Brad Stevens, even when they didn't have this kind of a good team, even when they were just, well, that's obviously a great team, but they just had a good team. Brad Stevens always wanted to play his 5 best players, and that's something that Joe Mazzulla obviously followed through on. There's lots of people smoking cigars.
I'm just looking for other people who could just suddenly crash in here. Mazzulla would be great. I mean, Mazzulla, you just don't know what. We could ask him about anything. You don't know where the answer is going to go. I think he's a legitimately awesome coach. The stuff he does with their defense, he's not afraid to be creative with matchups. He's not afraid to
When was
keep
the last time? I mean, youngest to win a title in your 30s as a head coach. I think he and Bill Russell, the 2 youngest guys. And Bill Russell, it's not really a fair comparison because he
No.
was playing.
I love watching this team play. I think they're awesome to watch. I think their pieces fit together so beautifully. And, nitpick their crunch time offense, not really this season, but there was always something that people wanted to nitpick. And there were sometimes justifications to it, but it's a goddamn great team.
For sure. And they're very deserving. We're going to wrap this up. What do you think? I mean,
Are they going to kick us out?
not going to kick us out. They're kicking nobody out tonight, buddy.
That's true.
And we're not going out on those streets.
I hope they've calmed down. I'm walking through the gauntlet.
I mean,
If I don't go to the party, I'm walking through the gauntlet.
here's the thing. At 2 o'clock when the bars close, it's going to be a rough situation here in Boston.
They wouldn't just keep them open.
I don't know, man. I'm not a bar owner.
The Puritans are long gone. Let's go. You just won the NBA championship for the 18th time. 18. Now we got to talk about Banner 19. It's all about Banner 19.
So you know what's funny? So the company that owns the Celtics.
I apologize for how unhinged this is, by the way, but this is
Not
how
unhinged.
this podcast
This is good. This is good. But this is what we wanted. The company that owns the Celtics, they're owned by a company called 17 Banners. I mean, it's this group of owners, but they own, and when they bought the team, they had 16 banners. So they called it 17 Banners because they wanted to win their 17th banner. Then they won 17, and then it was appropriate. 17 banners.
Over here.
Oh,
Bontemps is coming in.
here. Anyway, I was telling the story, but it's over.
Well, now they're gonna have to switch the name of their company.
They have to, right?
A new LLC.
There's going to be a new owner of the Celtics.
Bontemps, we've
18
been going
banners.
for a long time. We're about to wrap up. You better bring the heat here. What do you got for us?
I got Kristaps Porzingis surgery news.
Oh, bring it. He
He's
needs
gonna-
it.
He's going to have surgery. He's going to be out for a few months, as he told me.
So much for Latvia's chances of qualifying for the Olympics.
Yes, I think that's going to
That
take
was
a big.
my snap assessment.
I mean, it's.
Latvia, by the way, Latvia should have beaten Germany.
I know.
Dude,
Last year-
Latvia had an amazing.
And they have a
World
real.
Cup.
They're hosting a
They
qualifier.
gave the ball to Davis Bertans for the 3 at the end, and they should have given it to this little guard who I can't
I
remember
know.
his name.
They're hosting a qualifier. I talked to Kristaps about it the other day, and I guess there's a chance he could wait. I assume he's not going to be playing
No.
for Latvia in that. But look, like he just said to me, I was going to do whatever I could to play in this game today.
They
pretty
attacked
good.
him. They attacked him tonight, but he held his own.
Look, Josh Green hit a couple threes on him, but look, Porzingis a year ago was playing for the Wizards, and now he's won a title with the Celtics. And
We were just talking to Mike Zarin. Like, again, that trade fell apart.
yes,
The Brogdon trade fell apart.
yes,
Mike Zarin might have been upset with something I said on First Take and called me that morning, not happy. But by that night, they had Kristaps Porzingis.
Listen,
and now they got a championship.
it worked out pretty well, and they made 2 trades. They got Kristaps Porzingis, they got Drew Holiday, they got a title. And getting those 2 guys for Marcus
Hey.
Smart and Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams.
So we haven't talked about this yet. We already talked about all that. Just
Sure.
that's why I'm cutting you off. I'm
No,
not
that's
trying
fine.
to be a jerk.
You guys have been here a long time.
You had a vote for Finals MVP.
I did.
Yes, thank you.
I did.
The vote, I believe, was 7-4.
That's what I heard.
I don't know if they. You know what? I want you to talk about what your thought process is while I verify the vote.
I mean, look, I voted for Jaylen Brown. I wanted to vote for both Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, frankly, because like every other goddamn Celtics MVP vote,
Live stream, sir.
it was
Although
a
Zarin cursed.
literally a coin
Um,
flip between the 2 guys. I ultimately went with Jaylen Brown because he was playing very good defense on Luka Dončić in the series, and he was the more consistent player between he and Jayson Tatum. Easily could have voted for Jayson Tatum. And frankly, I think the fact that, once again, the Celtics did not have an obvious choice for MVP is why they have been the best team in the league this season. It is why they won the title. They have as deep and versatile and awesome a team as you could probably build, frankly, in the modern NBA. And they are in the position they are in because they have Brad Stevens, who's done a phenomenal job as their lead executive. They have Joe Mazzulla, who's done a phenomenal job over the past 2 years as head coach and has gotten very little credit for it all the way through. I think that will change now. And they have a deep, versatile roster that can play in any different way and has a lot of guys who sacrificed to get
I have
here.
the official
You got
voting.
the tally.
There it is.
7-4.
Okay, read them off one by one. I want dramatic.
Sam Amick at The Athletic, Jaylen Brown. Malika Andrews, ESPN, Jayson Tatum. Tim Bontemps, ESPN.com, Jaylen Brown. Doris Burke, ABC, Jayson Tatum. PJ Carlissimo, ESPN Radio, Jayson Tatum. The ESPN contingent went hard Jayson Tatum, except for Bontemps, who went with Jaylen Brown. Mike Curtis, Dallas Morning News, Jaylen Brown. Vince Goodwell, Yahoo Sports, Jaylen Brown. Sean Powell, NBA.com, veteran, long veteran, Sean Powell, Jaylen Brown. Simone from La Gazzetta dello Sport from Italy,
Simone Sandri.
Jaylen Brown. Gary Washburn, Boston Globe. It would have been appropriate if it was unanimous and Gary went with another one, because Gary's famous for keeping LeBron from winning the
voting
unanimous.
for Carmelo instead of LeBron.
Jason-
No one voted for Sabonis.
No one voted for Sabonis.
Deep cut. Voting
Gary,
deep cut.
Gary, yeah, if you get that joke and you're this deep in the podcast, Gary Washburn, Boston Globe, Jayson Tatum, Jeff Zilgett, USA Today, Jaylen Brown.
I mean, look.
I would have considered Drew Holiday. I know he wasn't gonna vote, but
I was
considered
asking a lot of people. So I got several Drew Holidays as possible votes. I mean, look, But again, this is why the Celtics are in the position they're in.
By the way, people voting for Jayson Tatum, it's not a wrong answer.
No,
That's a totally
there is no wrong answer. That's the whole point.
the
They have
design
an
of the
incredible team.
Also, we were talking to Jeff Wexler. I don't even know if you know about this. Jeff Wexler is Jayson Tatum's agent, and he wanted to know if we saw the commercial. Because
I hadn't seen it.
the first commercial after the championship, after they awarded the trophy, was a Jordan brand commercial with Jayson Tatum having voiced it over about, and there was there's a billboard at the end of it that says, "Don't stop disbelieving." Kind of like a chest beating, like take that world commercial. And Jeff didn't elaborate much on it.
Well,
but
listen,
it was,
Tatum
I think
got
it was
up on the
recorded
podium
very
and
recently.
said, Tatum got up on the podium and I asked him, what were you thinking as you were going through the handshake line at the end of the game? It was the first question of the presser. And he said a few things about how he was trying to wrap his head around it. And then he said, I had to listen to a lot of the bleep that people said about me over the years, and it was all worth it.
Talk your talk.
Listen, that's
Talk your talk, buddy.
You say a lot of things, create a lot of memes, but the smartest thing you've ever said is that if you win a title, you never have to say you're sorry. And this is a Celtics team that has had to say they're sorry a lot. They've been banging against the door a lot, and it's a group of really good guys who I've spent a lot of time around. I personally like them all a lot, and I'm really happy that they have gotten to the mountaintop and they have crossed this off, and they're not on the list of teams.
You used to live here and used to come to
for
25 or 30 games a year.
I was probably at 30 games this year, including road games.
Right.
So we did a segment. I don't know if we did it or we were going to do it on Get Up earlier this week, and the prompt was going to be, what does it mean for Jayson Tatum and the Celtics and Jayson Tatum's legacy if the Celtics win, but he doesn't win Finals MVP? And I was like, respectfully, I think this is a ridiculous topic.
I agree.
And
Steph Curry is one of the 10 or 15 best players of all time before he won Finals MVP.
The winning the title is the whole thing.
That's what matters.
Once you win a title, you are a champion. And so, sure enough, they win the title. He doesn't win Finals MVP. I also would have voted for Jaylen Brown by a hair. And no one is ever going to be like, well, that time he didn't win Finals MVP. If anything, they're going to be like, the time when they needed one last win to get over the hump.
He was great.
Dude played awesome and had
great.
11 assists and 31 points. Oh, who cares he wasn't Finals? Nobody is going to care. Would it be a nice capstone for his career someday? Sure.
His career's not over.
But his career, he's 26 years old. What matters is that they won the title and he played like a champion. And even when he was not shooting well in the first 3 games of the series, forget Game 4, he was playing very well.
He was.
Like in every other facet of the game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As I said a couple days ago, number 0 and number 7 are going up there.
Oh, they're locked in.
They're already like at the top of the team
No, but they're locked
categories.
in.
They've
I know.
been in so many
They're
goddamn
going up,
playoff
They're
games.
going up there.
And look, you could see after the game just like the visible stress coming off of all these guys. You got Al Horford who played
my God.
dozens and dozens and dozens of playoff
We had
games
the
not winning
Al
a title.
before.
And you got
I was talking to
Derrick White, who's obviously been here the last couple of years, been through all these ups
can
and
barely
downs.
talk. He's drinking his champagne through
Yeah,
a straw.
I mean, his teeth were just
Is that real?
I don't know. I
No,
made that
his
up.
teeth were. I saw him walking out. I mean, his teeth were a kaleidoscope. You got Porzingis, who's walking around on one
You
leg.
say his teeth were a kaleidoscope?
Oh, that's what I said.
What a line.
And then you got Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who have had all these people try to split them up and say they got to move on from them and all this other stuff. And now they're at the top of the mountain, and it's great.
They're at the top of the mountain. You know what they're going to do next year? We talked about this before. They're going to be kicking people who are trying to come up because they start next season at the top of the mountain.
To me, I think it's only up for those guys because so much of this has just been trying to get there.
Well,
for
I would
these
like
guys.
to have seen them play Denver.
No, listen, but I'm just saying, like now, to
Maybe
me,
next
all
year.
the pressure's off them now. Like all the
yeah, for
pressure has
sure.
been about
It's gone, baby.
got to get one, and that's
And
off
you
the
could
board.
see the pressure kick in Game 3. They like froze up in Game 3 when they got a big lead and they could start smelling it. Even Al
And by the way,
had a
in
couple
game-
of goofy
And
turnovers.
in Game 3, it was Jayson Tatum in the first half who kept him in the game, and it was Jaylen Brown in the third quarter who had probably the best quarter of his career and won him the game. And like that, I wish they both could have won the award because like they both
Yeah,
were
people
awesome.
were saying they should share it. There's 11 votes. You can't share it. I mean, obviously, the NBA could have, made Adam Silver.
Somebody
on the
could have
spot.
voted for like Drew Holiday and they could have split it. But like the
Oh, I
point
guess
is
that's true.
But again, the point is
that
like
would be very Celtics if it were like 4-4.
a bunch of us were texting about it during the game. Everybody was agonizing about it, and it's like this is every time I have to vote for one of these Celtics Series awards, it's always like this, every single time. But it's what makes them great. I mean, 20 years ago, the Pistons won a title with this kind of team. The Celtics are just a much deeper, better version, in my opinion, of what team was.
With all due respect to that Pistons team, I love their identity and everything. This Celtics team is awesome.
No, I mean, they're awesome.
They're loaded.
And again, I think Joe Mazzulla has not got nearly enough credit for what he's done with this team. They maximize the numbers at both ends. They maximize their talent at both ends. Turned Sam Hauser into a really good player.
Sam Hauser was awesome tonight.
Awesome.
I mean, awesome. Like setting screens for Drew Holiday, got a deflection. Remember
he was defending.
They had that
defending.
deflection in the first
Luka.
quarter where he had a deflection, and I think Brown got a layup, and then Tatum got a pick six on P.J. Washington, and it was like all of a sudden they're roaring and puffing their chest out.
Hey, Sam Hauser's a free agent now. Jason, they should give Jayson
He's
Tatum.
extension eligible, yeah.
They should bring the contract. Wouldn't that be amazing? Because, free agency has now started. If you have your own free agents,
Yes.
Wouldn't it be amazing if they brought the $315 million contract and said, Jayson Tatum, you can sign your $300 million contract tonight?
With a novelty check, like a Publishers Clearinghouse novelty check.
That's the thing. Jayson Tatum is a champion. He's going to have a parade in a couple of days, whenever they're doing it, the duck boats.
And he's 26 years old, and his whole
and by
career
the
is
end
ahead
of the
him.
week, he will have a $315 million contract.
And
Tell me, don't stop disbelieving is a nice slogan.
Listen,
He's doing just fine.
his whole career is ahead of him. His whole career is ahead of him, and all the all-time playoff stats, it's all him and Magic and Kobe and Tony Parker. Like, it's all ahead of him. This team is built to be good for at least the next couple of years, if not longer.
Yeah, listen, even if they have to retrofit, because Al Horford is getting close to the end, and they may not be able to afford both Holiday and Derrick White in 2 years and all that stuff, they can retrofit around Tatum and Brown. Just keep Tatum and Brown, baby.
Listen,
they got a decade out of them left.
They've done an unbelievable job at every level, and if people want to say whether Tatum's the fifth best player or sixth best player or whatever, if you don't have a super duper star number one top three guy on your team, that's how you got to win. And
now
it's
MacMahon
truly a
team
championship.
Semi-regular reminder that Jayson Tatum was not only a Nets pick, but was the product of a swap with the Markelle Fultz pick, and they got a Kings pick in addition to that. And they tried to get Donovan Mitchell in the same draft.
How was the Mavericks locker? Tim MacMahon, Bam MacMahon.
Howdy, partners.
How was the Mavericks locker room?
Guys in and out, ready to hop on the flight and head back home. Obviously, a somber locker room, an optimistic group they can get back to the stage, but they just took a pretty thorough butt kicking. Not just tonight, but aside from Game 4 in the series in general, and they realized, like, look, that's a championship team in the Boston Celtics. The winners were in that tunnel, as some might say, and
they were.
As much as the Mavericks, I think, are well positioned to contend for years, there's a big step that needs to be made.
Well, you just can't kick a finals game. That was my point.
Yeah, and look, Luka Luka wasn't super reflective tonight. He did say he's not sure if he's going to be playing for Slovenia because he's obviously dealing with injuries or whatnot. But he's talked about this being a learning experience, and it's not hard to figure out what are the things you can take as a guy, 25-year-old, playing in the first finals. And people can be mad at you for what you said after Game 3. And they can say you were maybe hamming it up a little bit, that you're good on TV and entertaining, a jerk even. They can't say you were wrong. And the things that Jason Kidd has really been trying to hammer into Luka or prod Luka into doing, leaving the refs alone, not letting that affect your focus, being locked in on defense, those came back to bite them in that Game 3. Look, if they win that game, do they win the series? Still highly doubtful. But, that's something that he's going to, Luka's going to have to live with.
The proper result came to fruition.
Yes.
But I said tonight when I was on Scott Van Pelt, we're sitting here with the white and green confetti. A couple years ago, did they have they had Warriors colored confetti here 2 years ago, right?
I wish I could remember.
All right. Well, I think 2 years ago there was Warriors colored confetti.
White and green.
I remember the Nuggets confetti last year.
I think that sometime in the near future there's a good chance we'll be potting on the court after a game with blue and white. Or
Blue, white, and green.
Confetti.
Look, the Mavericks have a chance because they have a guy who's the first or second best player in the world, and they've got him a co-star. They put together a supporting cast around him, but they've got still work to do, and it ain't going to be easy to get out of the West. They know that getting back here won't be easy. They're confident they can.
The West is a different beast. I was talking to some Celtics coaches before the game, and Luka didn't have his best series in this series, particularly shooting-wise. The level of respect bordering on fear that the Celtics, even with a 3-1 leader, that dude controls the game like LeBron, like peak LeBron. That was the phrase that was used over and over.
And they smothered him tonight. They really, really, really
well. And he went through he couldn't hit a three until the game was way out of hand. He's been playing on the sprained knee the whole series. He's banged up, but again, the Celtics, it really just does get back to the Celtics with their star tandem. Kind of went through the years of growing pains, made the final roster additions, ironically one of which was Porzingis, the co-star who fizzled out next to Luka in Dallas. But it was a long path for the Celtics to get here, and the Mavs, in a lot of ways, this is pretty early in their journey. It's Luka's sixth year, but as far as this
Don't
group,
you think the Mavs can make another trade?
Yeah, no. The Mavericks, so come draft night, they will have 2 first-round picks and then a couple, swaps. And let's just call it like it is. They've been trying to trade Tim Hardaway Jr. for, since the ink was dry on that deal. Well, now it's an expiring contract, and it might actually have some value in the trade market. I would say this.
Also, don't if you put Hardaway, Maxi Kleber together, you get your salary in a decent spot, and you can add the picks. They could.
I mean, Josh Green might have some appeal around the league.
Yeah.
I would say Maxi's pretty deeply rooted into the franchise as far as.
I'm just thinking about role players that have contracts you could put together. I'm not saying you're trading them to minor league upgrade.
Sure, and the thing about it, there's obviously Luka's as untouchable as any player in the league. Kyrie's not going anywhere. And then Derrick Lively didn't have a great night tonight. Didn't have, honestly, like Kyrie, stunk it up in the 3 games
If they could trade for a star, it would probably take, including Lively. But we're premature.
Boy, it'd have to be one hell of a star because Lively, I'm not saying he's untouchable, but I'm saying.
Well, this is for podcasts in the near future.
Too soon.
All right, we're gonna wrap.
Let's wrap. We've been going a while.
Yeah, we have.
I just got here.
But there's no more games for a long time.
Yeah, we have free agency started already.
Has anyone signed yet? I haven't checked my phone. Has there been anything?
I hope not. I hope they respect the Celtics enough to wait till tomorrow.
Agreed.
We respect the Celtics. Worthy champions.
Absolutely. No question.
Congratulations.
Wire to wire. Wire to wire, best team in the NBA.
Enjoy it. Enjoy your parade. Enjoy your duck boats. The draft is 9 days from today.
Find me a Samuel Adams.
I'll bet there will be some available tonight. All right. Thank you, everybody who went through this whole postseason run with all of us. We did a bunch of really late podcasts because we care so much about you.
Ooh,
we really
one last
appreciate
Winnie
it.
sleep update.
I got a 6 a.m. flight to New York.
There it is.
Thank you to Jackson, our producer. Thank you to Adi Khan, who is leaving us.
Oh, my gosh.
I just found out today.
Which I guess I'm happy for, but not really.
You respect his free agency decision.
You're right. That's absolutely right. We have to do that.
Just
Thank
like
you
they
to
did in
Zach.
Boston here with Kyrie.
Well,
Thank you to Zach. Thank you to Bontemps. Thank you to MacMahon. Thank you to our special guests tonight.
we had a few.
We had several special guests. Mike Zarin and his father. We had
Jackie
Jackie MacMullan. We had Cedric Maxwell.
Man, all kinds
He
of
booked himself. He just sort of stomped into the pod.
Well,
Yeah.
did
He knocked the camera over?
I was going to
He
say,
did.
everything
Knocked
okay
his-
over
You should
there
have
with
seen
the
Jackson and Adi scramble.
They've fortified a perimeter
They
of
did.
chairs.
the best box out of the night.
By the way, that was like a really good podcast.
I
That
know
lost.
it's dead to the world. Never happened.
It was like some of our best stuff.
Yeah.
And-
Low bar.
Oh well. All right. Thank you. You have to say goodnight. You took us in. You got to say goodnight.
Good night. Congratulations to the Boston Celtics. 18 NBA championships, 64 wins, 16-3 in the playoffs. Wire to wire, best team in the NBA. Congratulations.
All right. Good night and good luck.
Adios, amigos.